The sun was barely touching the horizon when Adrian, Stone, the youngest billionaire, in the city, stepped out of his private jet. His assistant kept calling, him asking if he was sure about returning, earlier than planned, but Adrian had already made up his mind. For weeks he had been feeling something heavy inside his chest. His instincts were growing, louder every day, whispering that something at home was wrong. He wanted to surprise his wife, Helen. She had been distant in her calls and strangely defensive when he asked about his adoptive mother, Margaret, who lived with them since recovering from surgery. Margaret was the only family he had ever known, the woman who took him in when he was abandoned at the age of 6. She raised him with love, gave him warmth, and taught him kindness. For her, Adrian would give away his entire fortune without blinking. Yet for the past few months, Helen kept complaining about her presence. She said she needed privacy, that a sick old woman was ruining the home atmosphere, that she felt watched. Adrian always managed to calm her, but his mother would never call him anymore. Even when he tried her phone, it stayed switched off. Helen told him Margaret was resting, that the doctor advised full silence, that she got tired easily. But today, when he asked for a video call, Helen quickly changed the subject. Her voice trembled, and Adrian knew something was terribly off. His car reached the gates of his mansion, and the guards were shocked to see him. They rushed to open the gate. Adrian walked in slowly, observing everything. Normally, his mother would sit in the garden every morning, enjoying the breeze, but the chair was empty. The flowers she watered daily were dry. Inside the mansion, his footsteps echoed through cold, silent halls. No scent of freshly baked bread which Margaret made for him since childhood. No sound, no warmth, only an unsettling stillness. Adrian placed his bags down and listened. A muffled voice came from the living room. Helen was laughing softly, but it was the kind of laugh people do when they mock someone. He moved closer. His heartbeat tightened. Then he heard it, his mother's voice trembling. "Please, I am begging you, let me drink some water. I feel dizzy." Adrian's eyes widened. Rage burned in his veins. He pushed the door open just an inch, and what he saw almost broke him. Margaret, his fragile 80-year-old mother, was kneeling on the floor, holding an empty glass. Her hands were shaking violently. Her clothes looked old and worn, the ones she never wore before. And in front of her stood Helen, his elegant, beautiful wife, with a cold smile. Helen lifted her heel, pressing it lightly on the glass so his mother could not pick it up. "You are doing this for attention. Adrian spoils you too much. People like you always pretend to be weak." Margaret lowered her head, whispering, "I don't pretend, my child. I really feel weak." Helen scoffed. "Save that drama for someone who cares. You live in this house because of my generosity. You eat food my husband buys. You breathe air in a home I helped design, so you will follow my rules." Margaret pressed her lips together, trying to hold back tears. "And your rule is that I should starve." Helen leaned down, lowering her voice. "My rule is that you stop controlling Adrian through guilt. He is mine, not yours." Margaret's hand tightened around her shawl. "I never controlled him. I only loved him." Helen rolled her eyes and walked toward the window, unaware that Adrian was standing behind the door, witnessing everything. How a billionaire like Adrian ended up with a useless old woman like you is beyond me. He could have had any parent through surrogacy or adoption, but he got stuck with you, a poor struggling widow with nothing but pity to offer. Honestly, you should be thanking me that I let you stay in this house at all." Adrian felt something inside him snapping. His vision trembled with shock, anger, and heartbreak. He pushed the door wide open. The loud bang shook the room. Helen froze. Margaret gasped, covering her mouth. Adrian walked in slowly, calmly, but with a storm behind his eyes. "Helen, what exactly are you doing to my mother?" Helen's whole body stiffened. She gave a shaky, fake smile. "Adrian, you are home early. This is a surprise. I was just helping your mother with her exercises. You know how weak she gets." Margaret tried to speak, but Adrian held up his hand, signaling her gently to stay silent. "Helping," he repeated softly, "by taking away her water. By insulting her. By stepping on a glass so she cannot touch it." Helen's face drained of color. "You misunderstood. She exaggerates everything. She is trying to turn you against me." Adrian walked toward his mother and gently helped her stand. She leaned on him, her body trembling like a frightened bird. "When was the last time you ate?" he whispered. Margaret hesitated. Then in a broken whisper, 2 days ago. Adrian closed his eyes. His heart shattered. Helen stepped forward. She refused to eat. I tried, but she is stubborn. Adrian looked at her with a coldness she had never seen. My mother is stubborn in love, not in pride. If she refused to eat, it means you threatened her. Helen started to panic. Adrian, listen to me. She is manipulating you. Old people do that. They act weak so you feel guilty. Margaret's tears fell silently. She had endured insults, humiliation, hunger, and cruelty all alone just so. Adrian would not worry. Helen tried again. You have to choose, Adrian. You cannot let an old woman destroy our marriage. Adrian finally spoke with a calm that made the walls tighten. My mother saved my life when I had nothing. She raised me, gave me hope, gave me a home. And you dare tell me to choose. Helen stepped back. I am your wife, and she is my heart, Adrian whispered. He led his mother to the sofa and removed his coat, placing it around her shoulders. Helen grew desperate. You are ruining everything because of an old lady. Adrian turned to her slowly. You ruined everything the moment you hurt her. Margaret spoke weakly. Adrian, please do not fight. I do not want to cause trouble. He knelt beside her. You are not the trouble. You are the reason I became who I am. Helen stared at them, furious, trembling. Adrian, you cannot throw me out. I am the face of your empire. People respect you because of me. Adrian looked at her with a sharp, icy stare. People respect me because I am a man of honor, not because I married you. Helen swallowed rage burning in her eyes. So what now? Adrian stood up. Now I will take care of my mother, and you will answer for everything you have done. Helen scoffed. You cannot prove anything. A slow, dangerous smile crossed Adrian's face. I saw everything with my own eyes, and I have cameras in this house that you never knew about. Helen's body went numb. Adrian walked to the desk, pressed a button, and the hidden screen lit up, showing footage of the past weeks, footage of Helen yelling at Margaret, footage of her throwing food into the trash so she could lie that Margaret refused to eat, footage of her locking Margaret inside her room. Helen collapsed to the floor. No, Adrian, delete it, please. Adrian ignored her and turned to his mother. I am taking you out of this house right now. You deserve peace, happiness, comfort, and love, not this prison. Margaret nodded slowly. I trust you, my son. And Adrian gently lifted her into his arms, carrying her the same way she used to carry him when he cried as a child. Helen screamed behind him. You will regret this, Adrian. You cannot survive without me. I made you. Adrian paused at the doorway. He turned just enough to look at her one last time. You did not make me. My mother did. And with that, he walked out of the mansion carrying Margaret close to his chest while Helen's screams faded behind them. The air outside felt lighter, the sky brighter, and for the first time, Adrian felt the strength of choosing love over lies. His mother whispered, Where are we going, my child? He smiled softly. Somewhere no one will ever hurt you again. The car drove away, leaving behind the place that had once been a home and now was just a shadow of betrayal. Margaret leaned on his shoulder. You came home early today. Adrian kissed her forehead. I came home right on time.